Welcome back to the Hill Update. I'm your host, Dean Allison, Member of Parliament for Niagara West. Joining me on the show this week is Marc Dalton, Member of Parliament for Pitt Meadows-Maple Ridge. I just want to very quickly finish the thought off on the carbon tax. That's been the underlying thing. One of the things that we asked for in the budget, that they would reduce that, but it doesn't look like there's any relief in sight when it comes to individuals and companies, small businesses, etc., on the carbon tax.
Yeah, no, this is not a tax for improving the environment. Matter of fact, Canada has rates one of the worst as far as its climate rankings. So it really is it's a tax. And I'm in British Columbia. I'm a representative here in Vancouver, and right now the gas is $2.11 a
Wow.
liter. And
Wow.
so when you add that to the cost of housing, everything else, it's just the pressure is on everyday Canadians. So this is not helpful. It makes us less competitive internationally. I have a friend that owns a business, has a lot of trade in the States, and she said that they don't pay the carbon tax there, and she doesn't know if she's going to be able to keep on with her business, because it's one of the major factors that is making her less profitable for her to be able to work
So
and
some
to invest.
Yeah, so something very unusual happened this week, almost comparable to a lunar eclipse that only happens every 100 or so years. So, not since 1913, over 111 years ago, has a private citizen been ordered to appear before the bar of the House of Commons. And so, my question is, how did we get there? I think what we want to do is just do a quick video right now, and then we'll come back and talk about this.
The opposition.
Mr. Speaker, he is the ultra wealthy. He hid his family fortune in a tax sheltered trust fund.
Mr. Firth's actions amounted to forgery under the criminal code. He altered resumes to secure government contracts, thereby fleecing the Canadian taxpayer. Isn't that correct?
Mr. Firth.
Mr. Speaker, the allegations regarding the Butler resumes were on a contract that had already been awarded. So these were task authorizations. No contract would have been decided either way by these resumes. It was one business.
All right. So, how did we get here? I guess the real issue was the fact he wouldn't answer questions of committee. So just a bit of background, GC Strategies has received over 20 million for the Arrive Can app alone, over 100 million in other government contracts, with a third of those contracts had absolutely zero competition. I would love your thoughts around how we got ourselves with Mr. Firth at the bar at the House of Commons.
Well, it's interesting. The last question that was asked him was by Elizabeth May of the Green Party, and asked him if he was ashamed. And what was his response? Is no. It's like him and his partner become multi-millionaires on the backs of Canadians for doing no work, for for being caught for manipulating resumes, and it's fraud and no concern. But this is actually just one example of systematic rot throughout the Liberal government. It is. I encourage your viewers to take a look at what Don Plett, Senator, Conservative leader, spoke about, all the lists of scandals. It's just like a litany of scandals that have been going on with this government. It's just, and people are starting to, it's starting to impact their lives, and they're starting to get fed up. And I think the polls are showing it. That I sure hope that this election comes sooner rather than later.
So one of the things, the last comment I made here is that we got about a minute left. A third of those contracts had zero competition. So this is a sole sourced, not necessarily competitive for the best bid or the most bid. So it looks to me like the fix was already in. I just love your thoughts on that.
Well, exactly. I mean, it was basically a shelving of money to Liberal insiders. And this is, think of Frank Baylis, who was a former Liberal MP who was able to get hundreds of millions of dollars in contracts, sole source. They double the price, and it's just, there's so many examples of this sort of thing happening, these sole source contracts, and the what is going on with Canadians' money.
We got 20 seconds left. Any thoughts on the budget, what you're hearing from constituents? 20 seconds.
Not really hearing a lot, to tell you the truth. I think that people are, they've heard a lot of this. I think that Trudeau is now throwing money out there, seeing what's going to stick, how it's going to impact. I don't, it's one thing to make promises, but it's not working. Everything he seems to make commitments to is just making things worse.
Thanks for joining us, Mark. I really appreciate you being on the show this week.